Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Be Amplified podcast. I'm Amy Patee, the show host. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time here, this is a show for conscious, soulful female entrepreneurs who are attuned to their essence, their natural energy, their soul, and they want to let their most authentic energy lead in their business and lead in all of their life. So internal, energetic alignment is key. And we talk about all of that here on this podcast. And I am in an interesting spot right now. We are in a very powerful eclipse portal. If you are at all into astrology, we had an eclipse about a week ago, and we are due for another one, I believe, on September 21st. Will be the second eclipse within this portal, and that will kind of close out this particular eclipse portal. I am not an astrologer, but I study astrology a lot. I follow astrology, and I feel astrology. I feel some of these shifts and changes that are taking place in the cosmos. I feel them impacting me on an individual human level, and you might be feeling that too. There's a lot going on in the world overall, but over the course of the last week, and as we move into this new week, it's a powerful time. It is a transformative time. It's a good time to pause and reflect. And I want to share a little bit of my own personal story about what's been coming up for me recently. I have been on this journey with Be Amplified, which is this podcast that you're listening to, but it's also a business that I've built and created. And since about January of 2025, I have been pedal to the metal with this business. I launched a beta group program where I was teaching human design and business. I launched a second version of that beta group program, human design and business, and I'm on the third iteration of that program. I launched it in its fullest expression, no longer a beta group. And while I was working out the details of this program and developing it and creating it since January, really, I've also been, building up other aspects of my business, creating unique human design reports and building out my mentorship program, working with people one-on-one, just pedal to the metal. It has felt accelerated. I have been so fired up and passionate about everything that I've been doing in this business and building and creating, and it's felt really good. And over the course of the last week, and really working up to the first eclipse, which again, I believe was on maybe September 8th or 9th. Don't quote me on that though, but it was around that time. There was this energy rising up in me, and it felt a little bit like things are shifting. Something's going to be changing. Something's going to be shifting. And then the eclipse happened. I received a big download, and it feels like I've been on a train traveling in a particular direction. The train is moving fast. I'm just in go mode, right? That's how it's felt since I launched Be Amplified officially, since I've been developing this curriculum and teaching it. It's just felt like it's go time. And I've been going, pedal to the metal. I've been going in this direction. It's felt very accelerated. And at times I've felt exhausted, but I didn't really know how to get off the train. And it didn't even feel correct for me to get off the train. But then in the last week, it feels like all of a sudden the train stopped. I got off the train and I got on a brand new train. And now I'm headed in a different direction. And to be honest, I don't even really know the destination. But I feel this deep trust inside of me. My body is really trusting the direction of this new train that I'm on. And I'm sitting in the train, watching the landscape go by, feeling a lot of trust, feeling a lot of surrender, and feeling like I don't have the fuel to keep going in the previous direction. Because, in fact, I'm not even on that train anymore. What's a girl to do, right? What am I to do with this business that I have been building and creating? What am I supposed to do with this podcast that I've been recording pretty much weekly since I launched it? What am I to do? And I'm sharing this with you because you may be experiencing something similar or not. But at some point in your life as an entrepreneur, you're definitely going to be at a crossroads or have things suddenly shift. And you'll be standing in this place, this in-between place, maybe unsure of what to do. And so I am standing at that place right now. I'm standing at this in-between place. I am orienting to the new train I'm on, the new landscape, the new direction I'm headed in. And I'm feeling a little flatlined about everything I've been doing up until this point. It's like suddenly the energy just went away. And I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused. Now, we have about a week before the next eclipse happens on the 21st, which kind of closes out this particular portal that we are in right now. And so I am giving myself some time and space to let the dust settle and to keep orienting to what has come in, the new information that's been coming in, which I'll share with you down the road. I'm still letting it all settle, so I don't want to share all the details yet because I'm not even sure of all the details yet. But the gist of it is a big shift has occurred, and I feel like I'm on a new train. That's all I can say. And I'm going in a new direction and trying to figure out the details. So what do we do in general when these kind of big shifts come into play, especially when you are in business for yourself and your business is an expression of you? Your business is an expression of your passions, of your gifts, your magic, your medicine, your purpose for being here. What do you do when you've been on a train headed in a certain direction, sharing your gifts, sharing your magic, it feels aligned, and then all of a sudden it comes to a screeching halt? Things change, maybe new doors open, or you realize new parts of yourself come online, they light up, and suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, I have to follow this. I have to go in that direction now. What do you do? How do you pivot? Do you burn it all down and start fresh? Do you keep doing what you've been doing, even though it doesn't really feel aligned or energized, and you just kind of quietly begin to shift and change things? And I'm sure depending on who you are and the particular shift or pivot that you're in, you will choose different ways to approach it. Maybe you burn it all down one time. Maybe you do the kind of slow, gentle shift another time. But I'm curious about it right now, and I would actually love to hear from you. If you want to send me an email, you can do so through my website. You can DM me on Instagram as well. But if you're going through a big shift, if you're feeling this eclipse portal, even if you weren't aware of the astrology, but you're like, ooh, yeah, I am feeling some big shifts happening. It's like the ground beneath me is moving, and I'm being asked to pivot. I'm being asked to reorient to a new direction for me and my life and my business. If you're feeling all of that, I would love to know, because I think so many people are feeling this, and it can help us. It can help us through this shift, this changing energy, when we connect with others and we hear their stories and we understand, ooh, they're going through something too. They're shifting and changing too. This is possible. How are you navigating it? What's coming up for you? What's happening for you? And we support each other by sharing, and we normalize the shift. We normalize the change, because let's be honest, we live in a world that loves to know, that loves to think that we can choose a path, we can choose a destination, we can choose a career, we can choose a business, and it's going to be like that forever. Our mind loves that idea. It loves to be able to lock into something and be like, this is known. This is something that is known and true, and I can lean on that and believe in that, and it will always be here, and I can trust that. Our mind loves that. But if we really step into our human potential, change is part of the equation. I'm sure you've all heard the phrase before, change is the only constant. And right now, especially in this eclipse portal, but also just in the larger landscape of life, change is really something that we need to learn how to hang on to versus the same old, same old. We need to learn how to leap. We need to learn how to pivot with greater and greater ease and flexibility. We need to learn how to allow change to actually be more of the way of life, because this is the times that we are living in. So that was a bit of a ramble, what I just shared with you, but the essence of really what I want to get across is we're in the eclipse portal. Big changes are happening for everyone that I'm talking to, and I'm feeling it. And I'm not sure what is going to be coming next on this podcast. If you've been listening, I've been trying to share tips about business, about being a soulful entrepreneur. I've been bringing in human design pieces here and there and energetics, and I'm not sure what's next. And I may actually pull back a little bit from publishing weekly episodes. Last week, I actually skipped the week. I didn't publish an episode because I had nothing to say. I was full on in the shift. I was on the new train and I was like, I don't know where I'm headed. I'm not sure what just happened. I don't have anything to say right now. I would have been forcing it. And so I gave myself a break last week. But I'm showing up here today to talk about the shift because likely you're feeling your own shift, and to let you know that you might not see an episode next week. We'll see what happens. I'm not sticking to anything right now because I feel like change is up and I want to invite that change. I want to allow that change. I want to be flexible with it. And maybe this episode, listening to this episode for you is like your permission slip that you get to change as well. And if you've been doing something in a very structured way, but the energy isn't there right now, this could be your permission to let go of that, or to take a break as well, to take a week off, to take 2 weeks off, to do something a little different. So I may show up next week. I may record this podcast next week, or I may not. And it kind of depends on how I'm feeling, what's coming up for me, and if I feel inspired, if I feel like I actually have something to share that might be useful for you. But I want to invite you to slow down over the course of the next week, to take intentional pauses, to look around, to feel, to see where you're at, to notice what is changing right now. What is releasing? What are you letting go of? And is there something new coming in? And it might just be a little nudge. You might just get a little glimpse of a new direction or a new version of you that wants to come alive, that wants to blossom in your life. And there might be some things that you've been doing that are no longer aligned. And can you allow yourself to change? Can you be flexible? Can you go with the flow right now? Because this flow, or this new train, as I've been describing it, might be taking you to a destination that you never could have imagined for yourself, but it is correct. It's aligned with your soul, and it's aligned with your true destiny. I went on a road trip with a friend this past weekend, and she's an astrologer. We were talking astrology, and in astrology, there's something called the North Node. Your North Node is like your future direction. Your South Node is your past direction. It's like the life you've lived. And your North Node is the life you are meant to step into and live. And the North Node can feel unfamiliar. It takes you out of your comfort zone. You may not see it coming because you've never lived it. Whereas your South Node, it's familiar. And you may feel really comfortable living in your South Node energy. But this is a time to orient to something new, something different, and just understand that you don't always recognize what's coming down the line for you. And in fact, sometimes when we pivot into something new, it feels misaligned. And it may not even feel good to us. It's not comfortable yet because it's brand new. But it is where we're meant to go. It is the pathway to our soul's destiny in this life. So let yourself embrace a new path, a new version of you, something that feels uncomfortable, something that may even feel misaligned at first, just because it's unfamiliar. Trust whatever's coming up for you right now. Feel what you need to feel. You're moving through some big waves of energy. Trust it, surrender to it, and in about a week's time, look around and see where you've landed. Begin to orient to the new place within yourself or within your world where you've landed. These are the times that we're navigating right now. And it can be helpful sometimes to just hear somebody lay it out like I'm doing right here in this podcast so that you can relax a little bit. And again, just trust the energy, trust the process, trust what is releasing, trust what is coming in, and trust that you are going to arrive at the right place, at the right time for whatever's next for you in your life and for your business. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. That was a lot of rambling. I hope it made sense, and I hope you heard something that you needed to hear today. And like I said, I welcome messages, DMs, whatever you want to share with me about where you're at and how you are moving through this powerful eclipse portal, this powerful time on the planet of shifting and changing. And as always, you can check out the links in the show notes. I do have some different offerings coming up in the near future, but one that I will call out to all of you listening in this episode is my private one-on-one human design readings. They can be really helpful when you are shifting. So if you're going through a big change and you need a map to anchor into, a map that is actually inside of you, a human design reading can be exactly what you need. So I'll include the link to schedule one of those with me below if you're curious or interested. Like I said, it can be really useful, especially when everything seems to be changing in your life, to be able to anchor into the blueprint of you. That can be really, really powerful. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for listening. I'm sending you so much love and grounding as you navigate these changes, and I'll catch you on the next episode whenever that comes. Okay, bye.